But most of all, because I'm a little partial to the 2-year-old sales, is how you do the racetrack, how we take care of the racetrack, or how you
it's interesting.
take care of the racetrack.
We have had a synthetic surface for probably going on 10 years
Yeah,
now, 10,
it's been a
11
while.
years now. And certainly we were on the front edge of that. And there's been varied opinions on the synthetic surface, particularly as it's used as a 2-year-old, for 2-year-olds, selling 2-year-olds. But the one thing that we have always held true to is our goal is to provide as consistent a surface for both buyers and sellers as we can for every under tax show. And what gets lost is there's other companies that may have under tax shows, but they have one day, or they may have a couple days.
Right.
We breeze more horses over more days than any other sales company in the world.
From morning till
Nobody
evening.
sells more 2-year-olds than we do.
And I'll probably say good morning, welcome to Leading the Way with Hartley Derenzo, Dean Derenzo, Randy Hartley, and our guest today is Tod Wojciechowski. He is the man here at OBS Sales. We're here for a yearling sale, October yearling sale, our yearly sale that's been going on for a lot of years.
Right.
Tod is director of sales and every other hat that that he has to wear here.
Sure,
So
yes, you kind of do a little bit of everything.
you do a little bit of everything. But Tod has been a multiple generation horseman, and so the fit for a sales company having somebody in that's a horseman that's actually done yearling sales, 2-year-old sales, breeding,
Roping,
roping, every aspect of it is huge for OBS. And kudos to OBS because OBS is owned by horsemen and developed by horsemen, founded by horsemen. And Randy and I are fortunate enough to be one of the small shareholders here in OBS, but most of the large consigners are also shareholders supporting our company.
That's right. I think it's a good thing that the company is owned by the people using it.
Right.
We're kind of a co-op. Gives them a vested interest in what goes on here.
Yes, yeah, and we all care about every bit that goes on, and so yearling sales are a small portion of what
Sure.
OBS does. Tod, tell us what OBS does. There's so much of it.
Right. Well, so as you said, we're here for the October yearling sale, which we moved it to October about 5 years ago. It used to be in August.
In August, right?
And we moved it to October to capture some better weather. And I think this year might be the first year we finally captured October weather
Yeah, cool,
for the yearling
nice.
sale. But we're excited about this edition. I think the quality of horses and the quality of sires that we continue to get, that the consigners bring. They bring good horses. Those horses go on and succeed. And that success at the racetrack is what brings buyers to the sale. I mean, ultimately, that's what it all boils down to.
the main goal.
If you're selling horses that are successful at the racetrack, people want
are
to
going to come by.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that maybe OBS Sales is a Florida type of a breeder's operation.
Oh, no, we're not a regional sale.
Right.
All I'll
Worldwide.
point to is the Crimson Advocate winning the Queen Mary.
Right.
In England
Yeah, and
the
we had a
Royal
horse to win
Ascot.
the big England race
Royal
came out
Ascot,
here.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Royal Ascot.
And then, horses winning on the West Coast, having a meltdown.
Grade
Speedboat
ones.
Beach, winners at Churchill, winners on the East Coast. So those and what does get lost a lot of times, particularly for our yearling sale, is not only success at the racetrack, but success in the sales ring, because a lot of the successful 2-year-old pinhooks that happen in the spring come out of this sale as well.
Yeah.
I noticed walking around, and we're shopping as well as selling actually, and shopping here. New York breds, Indiana breds, Kentucky breds,
Right, there's a
Florida
Florida
breds.
breds.
Louisiana breds. There's
Louisiana
a wide
bred.
range of a wide selection of horses here for a wide swath of buyers.
And it looks like walking around that we see buyers from all over.
Yes.
We have buyers from Korea here.
Korean buyers here. We have a number of end users, as they call them, guys training at the track. Obviously we're in pinhook heaven right here in Ocala. So obviously a number of the pinhookers are here buying. So I think we get a good cross-section of buyers here.
And just a little other information about Ocala Breeder Sales Company. It's not just the sales company. It's
you're right.
Feed company.
So we have obviously we have the sales division. We have a feed company, and then you can kind of see a little bit behind us here. We're getting ready to open up a poker room over at the ITW building that's over on the racetrack. We have simulcasting as well, but the big focus will be the Ocala Bets poker room.
And this is all great for the whole industry because, it brings money into the sales company, which we can build better buildings as this brand new facility has been built, making it comfortable for buyers to come in. There's been talk about hotel here on the premises to make it convenient, airport across the street. But most of all, because I'm a little partial to the 2-year-old sales, is how you do the racetrack. How we take care of the racetrack, or how you
it's interesting.
Take care of the racetrack.
We have had a synthetic surface for probably going on 10 years
now.
10, 11 years now. And certainly we were on the front edge of that. And there's been varied opinions on the synthetic surface, particularly as it's used as a 2-year-old, for 2-year-olds, selling 2-year-olds. But the one thing that we have always held true to is our goal is to provide as consistent a surface for both buyers and sellers as we can for every under tax show. And what gets lost is there's other companies that may have under tax shows, but they have one day, or they may have a couple days.
Right.
We breeze more horses over more days than any other sales company in the world.
From morning till
Nobody
evening.
sells more 2-year-olds than we do. So our goal is to provide a racetrack that gives you the same opportunity at 8 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or on day 1 or day 7, that you get to show your horse's ability off to the best that it can, and that the racetrack is not that big of a significance. The synthetic does that. It takes weather out of the equation.
Well,
nothing takes all. Nothing takes all.
Right, it's hard to control the wind and
but
other
it does
stuff,
eliminate.
but
it does eliminate changing racetracks.
Right.
Yeah, and we don't have to worry about the snow.
No, that's right. And the other side of that is it is consistent for the buyers. If you're a buyer and you're trying to compare horses from day 1 to day 7, or from 8 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the more consistent that racetrack is, the better comparison you have in making your decisions when you're buying.
Yeah, it's really important to us as consigners because we're not very big consigners. So if we have 3 or 5 horses in the sale, we may be spread out from the morning till the afternoon. So, and we happen to have one this year, in 2023. Horse that was maybe second to last at 2:30 in the afternoon. Breezed lights out, topped the day's sale, $1.4 million, a phenomenal horse. So he got the chance to show off his ability.
Yeah. Exactly. And the racetrack wasn't a factor.
Was not a factor.
Yeah. So, and that's the goal. Heck, we try like hell to get it right. Sometimes we may miss a mark.
Yeah.
Not intentional, but that's the goal we strive for. And relentless pursuit of perfection.
With a lot of horses, it makes the buyers feel comfortable enough to have to look at them all.
Yeah,
there.
No doubt. I had I'll tell you a story. I had someone approach me one time that said, you need to do something about this racetrack. And I said, okay, what's the problem? He says, when I go to other sales, I got maybe 5 or 6 on my list. I got 100 horses on my short list.
That means go to work.
And I said, and I think that's a bad thing?
Yeah.
One of the old wives' tales, I will call it a wives' tale, is that you can't separate them on the synthetic, and it's just statistically not true.
Right. Well, we can see that. Corniche, Champion has been separated out. We can sure see that with the champions. I walked down the hall early this morning here, and I saw the signs of horses, which I'm going to talk about one I didn't even know until I looked at the sign, that Into Mischief
Yeah.
Oh my
into
goodness.
mischief.
You
David
better
McCaffrey,
not say that in front of.
I know.
That's Tommy beats that drum quite a bit. Absolutely.
Well, he should.
Grassroots.
He's the number one horse, maybe
Grassroots
right now,
sold that
number one
horse.
stallion in the.
Absolutely, is a
Yeah.
March graduate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You
You
learned
know,
something
I need
today.
to walk around the sales company,
Yeah.
see these signs
That's
a little
right.
bit more
That's
to
right.
see that. But
the kind of a cool thing, and I mentioned this to you yesterday. On Saturday, and I thought this was just quite a neat deal. On Saturday, you had what I think the 2-year-old sale embodies, demonstrated on the racetrack in graded stakes company.
Oh, yeah.
You have Muth
right.
win the grade 1 in California, a fast breezer, sales topper, goes out and performs.
At
and
a
then-
distance.
At a distance.
Right.
And then come back on the East Coast, and you've got a 6-year-old mare that's made about $2.5 million. That's a 2-year-old sales graduate, and won the Joe Hirsch turf race, grade 1 turf, for the second time.
Well,
so there's two ends of the spectrum. You have a 2-year-old and you have a 6-year-old mare. And so that idea that they don't last or that they can't hold up is just
they for sure. Well, the Breeders' Cup's going to be loaded with them this year.
Absolutely.
You're going to have a couple nice wins. I
Sure.
have a feeling.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You know, I had just kind of fell upon some really good stats that came from the Jockey Club, which is fantastic stats that I was kind of blown away from to see that 2-year-olds have a higher percentage of starters that came through the 2-year-old sale, I should say. Horses that came through the 2-year-old sale have a higher percentage of starters, a higher percentage of winners, a higher percentage of stakes winners, and a higher percentage of graded stakes winners.
Yep.
Over horses that never went through a sale or yearling sales or weanling sales.
Right. So there's
Those are
sometimes,
huge.
Unfortunately, sometimes there's a false narrative peddled out there that the going through the 2-year-old sale somehow is detrimental to a horse's racing career or tears them up or what have you.
Right.
And those stats simply show that it's
Well,
that's bullshit.
Look
It's
at the
bullshit.
number of Derby horses that have come through a 2-year-old sale.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Bob
if you
Baffert
want
got put on the map with a horse that came through this
You
this
guys.
sale.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys.
Silver
too.
Charm,
Yeah, and there. But if you think that way, then read the real reports.
Yeah.
Dr. Bramlage from Rood and Riddle puts out that horses that are trained earlier develop stronger and better throughout their career. Less catastrophic injuries with horses that trained earlier on.
The way I look at it, do we want to do better? Absolutely.
Yes.
If you're in business, you should always want to try to do
you
better
strive
and
for, yeah.
improve yourself. But is what we do somehow detrimental to the horse? It's just a false narrative that gets peddled for somebody that may have had a bad experience,
Right.
or maybe they're just wanting to sell their yearlings for more. I don't know which, but I just think it's unfortunate that narrative gets peddled.
Well, over time, and it's been a lot of years that the 2-year-old sales have been started and developed. I mean, it's probably been, we've been doing this 32 years, and we didn't come in the beginning. So it's,
so my folks were kind of on the beginning edge
right.
of
Your parents,
pinhooking. And I tell
Copper Penny Farm.
Copper Penny Farm, and I tell people all the time that originally my folks started, they would buy yearlings and then take them to the track.
Right.
And start them once and sell them, or get them close to a start and sell them. And then, people started putting these 2-year-olds into the sale. That was kind of the brainchild of Ocala Stud, a number of the old farms that said, hey, let's try to figure out a different way to market these horses down here. Let's put them in a 2-year-old sale.
And
then,
that was probably 45 years ago?
I would say, let's see. OBS started in 74, 75. So you're talking about like 80, 81.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
And over the time, things have changed on how we take care of these horses and the care about them and how we develop them into the champions that they are.
And you talk about the care, and we tie this into our feed company. We have this display over here right now. We are kind of a regional feed company in that we don't have a national brand that gets sent all over the place, because freshness is kind of the key thing for us.
Right.
Ty Springer, the guy that runs the feed store, he'll tell you, he said, there's a very strong likelihood that the bag of feed you're feeding today started at the mill this morning.
Right.
And
Right.
And the other key distinction is this is the only equine only mill in the region. A lot of other feed companies that mill horse feed also mill cow feed. They'll mill
food,
pig feed.
everything, yeah.
Right.
They'll do a little
Right.
bit of everything, and contamination becomes a problem at times. We're an equine only mill. That's all we make is horse feed.
Really.
And Ocala Breeder Sales Company sits in the middle of, I say it's horse capital of the world.
Can you say that?
I can say it because we feud over that. With
I think
Kentucky.
there was a legal battle between them.
But
yeah, you could say.
Where all these horses are trained. We have veterinary clinics here that are top in the world, probably.
I was talking to a friend of
surgeons
mine
and-
a couple days ago. Hadn't seen in a while. They're from originally lived in Texas. They're living here now. And I just kind of looked at him. I said, the amount of resources at your disposal is a little different, isn't it? And he went, oh,
Whoa.
can't even imagine.
And they didn't realize it until
No.
they came here.
Right.
They didn't.
To see and so the farms, the racetracks are all kept up amazingly, to do it. And if we do have a problem, have to stop on a horse, we have the best veterinary care
Yeah,
that can go on
absolutely.
here. And then now we get to go to a facility that we are able to show these horses on a racetrack that's kept up
Right.
all year.
Well,
Not-
and
Oh, yeah. We maintain
Tilled
it
up
all year.
just to use for a sale.
I know.
all
and just
year
the
long.
convenience of it being here in your backyard.
Yeah.
It's just
It's funny. I can always tell. I say this as the Pollock. It's not like rain falling on my head should tell me, but I always know when tracks are in bad shape around town because I start getting phone calls. Hey, your track, I need to breed some horses.
Right.
Can I come over? I need to come breed some horses. The phone rings off the hook. Say, hey, we're here all the time.
Yeah, and that's really important because it's stable all year long. It's not just dished up, ready to go
Yep.
for 2 weeks
Correct.
in a sale and not settled in. So
And then we, not only is it just, we maintain it, but, here coming up in November, we'll bring in a grader, we'll lay it back,
Right.
lay it back down.
stay on top of it.
It is, synthetics are a little different to grade, so you have to we bring in the Miguel and Joan Wakefield from Topeka.
right.
They come in for 2 days. They kind of oversee and drive the equipment. They oversee the process of laying them down and laying it back. And then they coach and teach our maintenance crew how to do daily, monthly maintenance that kind of keeps that thing.
Because that's important too. You have to have the right people.
And we have a history that there's less injuries, catastrophic injuries on this racetrack than has been when this racetrack wasn't here.
Yeah. I mean, I think,
And,
obviously there's a lot of different opinions on synthetics, and I don't want to, go down that road necessarily, but statistically it is a safer racetrack than dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's worked. It's worked. Look at
and
the
it's
horses
worked here.
coming off.
And to be honest with you, that again, that narrative that you can't separate them on the synthetic, it's like I kind of subscribe to that old racetrack adage: you can't hide a good one, you can't hide a
Right,
bad one.
that's-
Yep,
sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's 100% true about that. When there's plans for next year. Every year I see OBS tries to make something a little better, a little different. What is your plans for next year? Anything that we'd like to hear about that may help buyers, sellers in something new, other than we just talked about doing the racetrack again in November, getting
Sure. So we try to do some physical upgrades as we can. The one thing, kind of an infrastructure thing, we're trying to expand our Wi-Fi network.
Yeah.
So, it's a challenge where our facility covers, we're 29 barns. We cover a couple hundred acres to get fiber optic and access points to all these different places, plus audio, plus video. It's been a long process, but we're getting towards the end of it now. And I think we should see the results of that this spring.
And communication is tremendously important.
Well, nowadays, with
get
videos,
somebody on the phone.
the Breeze videos, I keep telling you stories because I've been in this game my entire life. My father was a blacksmith. My mother trained horses. my first paying job was on the track at 9 walking
And I know you
hots.
since you were about 6.
6, that's right. And but I tell this story all the time that I can remember my first trip to Ocala Breeder Sales. We watched a gallop show.
Yep. Just gallop.
On the old 5/8 track, and you pulled your car up to the outside rail and sat on the hood and watched them gallop by.
Really?
There was no grandstand. There was no nothing. Yeah. So
Things
and
have
then
changed.
the other to talk about the videos and the advent of videos and the communication. I think it was I know this because it was the day before Tyler was born, 91. My wife was pregnant with our son, and she was the old wooden grandstand before they built the ITW building.
Right.
She was up there with the giant VCR camera,
Yeah.
right? Shooting the video, pregnant, hanging out over the rail. People were looking at her like, "What are you, nuts?" And then, because back then there was no videos that were done by the sales companies, and we had the idea of putting it, putting it on VHS and putting it in a TV at the barn.
I remember those days when we used to get it in the mail.
Exactly.
Big,
used to mail them. But
Um,
nowadays, hell, we'll have the first set of breezers up on the website
15
before
minutes.
before the second set starts.
Well, it must make you feel proud to go and see
The
what
progress
the sales company has done since sitting on the hood of the car watching horses.
Oh, I mean,
the largest 2-year-old sale company in the world.
Right. Yes.
That's grown, so much, and where other sales companies that have done 2-year-olds have kind of weakened off of their, it's not the same as it has, where this has just exploded, and just Ocala and OBS has just become like the place where people want to come now to buy their 2-year-olds.
I agree with you. It is very gratifying to watch, and having seen it was close to the beginning, right, and to see how much it has progressed. But it's not just the sales company; it's the people buying horses, the people training horses, the quality of care, the quality of feed. All of that has evolved so much,
Right.
That I just am amazed at the quality. And we talk about the 2-year-old. So I'm going to go back to one other thing that I want to mention, because you kind of remind me of it. The 2-year-old sales. They talk about this or that, or to me, if I'm buying a racehorse, it makes the most sense. It's logical, right? There's another data point. This is the closest you're going to get to racing.
Yeah.
You're going to get to see these horses perform on the racetrack. And no, it isn't necessarily about speed. There's a lot of other things that you're going to take into account. Speed's one of them.
Right.
Athletic ability, what they look like moving. I tell people all the time that don't know our business.
How much is left in the tank?
How much is left in the tank?
How easy they did
We're
it.
the NFL scouting combine of racehorses.
Exactly.
So, and that's their 40-yard dash.
Right.
And you want to see how they move, right? And you got the guy that glides like he's on, like the water's never moving underneath his feet. And you look at the clock and you go, wow,
Stride
I thought that horse was stride analysis and all of that. But on top of that, the benefit for the buyer is they are getting your expertise that's been put into that horse to be prepared for the races.
That's right.
And that's hard to price.
Right.
The number of people that do a quality job of getting these horses to the sale, but then also prepared for their future career, that expertise is hard to quantify.
Well, it's funny you say that, because yesterday, Rich Mendez, More Play Racing, was here, and he said, with everything that we get to look at as a 2-year-old, just exactly what you're talking about, why are we buying yearlings to race? Why don't we just buy 2-year-olds and get to pick ones that we know can run, we know are sound, and went through 7-8 months of training already, so that risk is gone.
Which we only bought a few yearlings to race.
We did
a bunch,
for
the
trying to get certain pedigrees for fillies and things like that we may not see.
But we
sure. I guess the one argument that you can make to me that why you buy yearlings is to get a pedigree,
right?
But not anymore. Well, you see what we bring to the sales.
It gets better and better. And again, the quality of horses. And yes, when the 2-year-old sales started, everybody bought a little short, rapid horse that looked like a little quarter horses, because I think that people, and this is what they talk about, speed and everything. Those horses were fast. But you know what? the buyers of horses to resell, you guys, reacted to the market of what was going on out there. And what they started buying was stretcher horses that could
Big
get around
strides.
2 turns.
Mm-hmm.
They may not look like, they don't look like they're little mini bikes, that they're, nice long stride. That's what the 2-year-old sale. Everybody talks about, oh, you little quarter horsey guys. I said, anytime somebody tells me that, I said, you haven't been around a 2-year-old sale in a long time.
Exactly.
I know, a long time ago. Remember when we were down at the OBS sale in Calder, and South Florida, and I asked Joe Canancia and Bill Condren, how come you don't come look at our horses? I was at dinner with them. And he said, oh, you guys just have sprinters. I said, no, we don't have just sprinters. Fact is, we sold Silver Charm. He won the Kentucky Derby. Well, we'll come look at one. So we showed him a horse that we picked for him, and he said, well, that horse worked fast. He's just a sprinter. I said, no, he's not just a sprinter. Well, we'll try to buy him. Well, your head's going to be on the chopping block. It was Greenwood Lake.
Yeah,
He won the Champagne, going 2 turns in his second start. Broke his mate in his first start. Grade 1 winner, going 2 turns, and that was the thought back then.
Sure,
that they were just sprinters.
Yeah. So like I said, when I hear that comment now, I'm like, okay, you're just regurgitating something you heard,
right.
or
Long time.
you haven't been there in a long
Right.
time.
And I think people had that in their mind about Ocala for a long time. They felt like they had to go somewhere else to buy a horse that they thought could get the 2 turns or whatever. Now, you look at the buyers that come here; they all come.
Well, and
from all over the world.
From all
what
over the
we
world.
say here at OBS, we say all the time, it's because of the horses you guys bring.
Right.
Yeah.
Horses bring the buyers.
Right. If you
Success
got
in
the
horses,
catalog.
Right.
We could have these. We could have this. I mean, this is nice. We love this. We want to try to provide a comfortable environment, right? But we could have this down at the Ocala livestock market.
Oh, for sure.
If it was
If you had the
producing
right
grade
horse.
1 winners
Yeah.
every
That's
day.
right. Yeah,
every
it could
week.
be in
To
or the
be-
middle of Arkansas.
Correct.
For that matter, on that. Well, somebody asked us, how do we buy our horses to pinhook? And you try to buy them wholesale. So there's no such thing anymore in what we do on wholesale. We try to buy the great horse. And do we bid against end users? Yes. And hopefully that is still a great horse by the time we get to show that one more thing, which was ability.
That's right.
And then they'll give us a profit, hopefully, for the ability.
That is definitely one thing that has changed since the beginning is the competition as far as what you're doing. Right. The number of people that are pinhooking horses, whether it's weanless to yearlings or yearlings to 2-year-olds, has increased even since I was buying and selling horses, and it's become even more competitive every year.
But you want to know something, Todd? Everybody thinks, we're going to pinhook a horse this year. We paid $600,000 for as a yearling. Of course, he's got all the pedigree and the looks, as you can figure. And they say, boy, that's a big risk. The truth of the matter is, there isn't much risk unless he gets hurt. But I think I got the secret weapon keeping him sound right here next to me. But they can do it. These horses can just do it. So we don't have to train on them very hard. Their ability just comes out. Sure. So the risk factor, whether they can run or not, they have to prove that they can't run more than they can prove that they can run.
Right.
All the pedigree, stallions, everything.
But that's
says
been one of the unique things for me that I've enjoyed working at OBS is, when I was selling horses, and I learned this when I started inspecting, I'd have a barn full of horses, and that's the best son buck here. That's a good horse. And then I'd go out and inspect horses around the county, and I'd come back and go, he might be the best in my barn, but he ain't the best one out there, right? So as a sales company, we get to see
all of it. Yeah.
And we can see patterns. Right. Everybody has patterns.
Yeah.
That's your pattern. You buy those better pedigreed horses. It's maybe a little more money on the front end, but I see your point where you're trying to, that pedigree will limit your downside. Whereas if you're just buying a tremendous physical that has no page at all, if he stubs his toe anywhere down the line, you're done.
You're done. Yeah.
Right.
I asked you a question when you came in and looked at our horses last year, and I said, where I want to be? I want to have the top 10 horses in each sale. And he said, you got the top 10 horses in each sale. Don't worry about it. Right.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Just do what you're doing on that. And but your information is real important to consigners.
Sure.
To see what's out there, to say, this horse may not fit, even though he could be the grade 1 winner. Who knows?
Sure.
But when he stands beside, he could be little bit smaller, a little
Well,
bit
and that's
bunchier.
part of that's
Make
part of
somebody
that
walk by.
entry process that we go through with consigners and try to communicate with, and
Yeah.
have a back and forth communication and say, hey, what are you thinking? This is what we're thinking. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Try to steer 'em in
you
the
might
right
want to
direction.
think about this.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we
Because our goal
we
is for
take
you
it to
guys to
heart.
make as much money as you can. You
Right.
guys make money, we make money.
That's right.
The other thing I'm going to point out on the 2-year-olds, and they talk about, oh, you guys tear up them horses. You tear up all those horses. How much money had you spent on horses
Yeah.
that you're about to pinhook?
Oh my
Yeah.
God!
Right?
Millions.
Fuzz. Yeah, 6 million.
Okay, so you're going to tell me you're just going to go rip
No,
rare or
I can
tear
tell you
them some
that
bucks
for
up?
sure. Definitely not.
There's way too much money at stake.
Yeah, and it's
So
our money in it.
Right.
You know,
And
I
there-
mean,
that's just kind of bizarre that people come up with that. Again,
yeah.
I've heard these arguments, and sometimes I think it's people just regurgitating things trying to sound smart.
But it's changing. It's
Yeah,
changing
I
so
think
much,
it's
and that's what podcasts are all about.
Yeah.
They can listen to our conversations
Sure.
and maybe say, you know what? I never realized that. Didn't realize these stats that come from the
Sure.
Jockey Club because they're not advertised.
No,
You have to get them,
Yeah.
and
you ask for them.
you have to ask for them,
Yeah.
and things like that. So, one of the reasons we want to do the podcast is to educate buyers that we already have and new buyers that want to come into the industry and enjoy it with their families.
And it's a great medium to do that because it is not just sound bites. You get to have a kind of a back and forth and a good
Right.
conversation. You get to share information back and forth.
And they could
I
even
agree.
watch disagreements
Yeah,
on some things.
that's right.
Like, when
Most
you
of the
went,
time.
but that always something comes out of it.
Sure.
Always some positive that comes out of all that. And so being a part of OBS sales for us oh gosh, I don't know how long that we've been shareholders here in the company. A long time has been probably one of the greatest investments. And without the team keeping it moving, because the only thing we do to OBS is bring horses, but all the running of it, management of it, the day-to-day work has to be a team work.
Absolutely. And I'm very fortunate. So I started my first foray into working with OBS was inspecting horses.
Yeah, I
Back
remember
when there was more select sales, and it was a little more of a process. And that's when I came on board. Tom Ventura, who's here, Tom Chiodo was the president
at that time.
And I probably inspected horses for 10 years, got a chance to develop a relationship with Tommy and Tom. I actually had moved away for a while and got a call from Tommy one day and said, hey, would you be interested? And I'm like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And
move back.
To move back. So I am very fortunate that I get to work with a good friend every day, like you guys.
Yeah.
I get to work with a good friend every day that we can have disagreements. We
Right.
can argue like
Yeah.
friends.
But
Right,
still,
and then put it aside
then-
and go to work.
And then it's just like,
And and Tommy, just talking about him, Tommy Ventura, president of OBS. I say OBS, it's because it's short, but it's OBS Sales and
Ocala
Feed.
Breeder Sales. Yep.
He has been in it so long and wore all the hats.
Sure.
So when his team has to come to him, he knows exactly what they're talking about.
Well, and he's a hands-on kind of guy. I mean,
Yeah.
he's the one that he was probably here putting these helping these guys
Put
these tables together
Right,
last night.
right.
I seen him out looking at
and
horses yesterday.
Right. He loves to go out and look at horses. He
Yeah.
loves the game.
And it's really
It helps. He has a
important,
photographic memory,
Yeah.
so he's
Oh,
able to
he's
remember
brilliant.
things that way.
though. And
But
You know,
all down
we
the
hope
line,
he never retires.
No, yes, correct. Chad Johnson's been with us for probably about 8-9 years.
has
now.
it been that long
Yeah.
already?
Yeah, it has been.
Golly. How
you
could
know-
it be if we're 35 years old?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
I
Chad's an integral part of the team.
Mhm.
I
He's
mean,
always had a good eye for a
he's
horse
got
too.
a-
He's
oh,
got
he's a
spectacular
great eye for
eye.
And from a
horse.
horse family as
Yeah.
well.
horse
very
family
good.
as well.
Dean and Peggy.
Yeah, absolutely. He
going back there.
and I think it's nice that we have horse people now. Tommy, in fairness, wasn't
Not as
a
horsey
horse
as you
family,
guys.
but he spent so much time in the Steinbrenner organization
Right.
around them that he learned a lot. But like I said, Chad, myself, come from a horse background, have been on that side
on
of
every end of it.
of the sale. We've been out in the barn selling horses. gives us a good perspective when we
Mhm.
come in here. You know, we get through the heat of the spring when it gets everybody's a little puckered
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, lives
Yeah.
years are on
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
years is on
They're-
the line. I do remember what that feeling was like.
Right.
So
Yeah,
those
so you can-
times,
So you have a little
Calm 'em down.
so
compassion.
those
yeah.
times when
Down.
I get some irate people, I can appreciate what it
Yeah.
was
like
like.
Randy.
Yeah.
But I remember what it was like. I do, and I'm like, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah,
So-
it is. But you know, and then building the team is hard to find those particular
Sure.
people that you're looking for that have that.
It's a
insight.
process.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sure is a process.
And-
but you know, so many, many of these people on our team, Lauren Marks.
Yeah. How long is
She's-
Lauren?
Linda
Jeez, how
Banta.
long-
Lauren's got to be here
Lauren
35
made-
years.
Between Lauren and Linda, I'm not sure which one is the oldest.
Matriarch.
They're only
They're
about a year
close.
apart. But I
Yeah.
can't remember if it was Lauren or Linda that has been here the longest.
And they still
But they've
do it,
been
and they
back
love it,
here
yeah.
when you put together the sale on index cards and laid out the horses
yeah,
via
yeah.
index cards. There was
They-
no computers.
Yeah,
Um,
right from the beginning.
Right
when
from the
it's just a
beginning.
Yeah.
So
little
you know
thing.
that the amount of experience and like you said, have seen a lot of the things. It really helped me when I came into that.
You know, I want to tell you that Randy and I, we talk about and appreciate the small things too, like when we have big horses sales and how you give us a beautiful photograph and frame of the horse and having, you know, it just shows that you're paying attention to us and appreciate.
Well,
Dean likes attention.
It's
We all
it's
do,
good
don't
for
we?
us. Absolutely.
You know, and
Everybody likes their
it's
ego.
a nice way to say a
stroked.
little thank you.
That's
And
right.
I remember when Lauren, actually, the first $1 million horse ever sold at OBS was our
Yeah.
horse, and she had.
Was that by DeHare?
Yeah.
Yeah,
By DeHare.
the hair.
Yeah.
Well, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pulled that one.
Yeah.
out.
John Moynihan.
Yep. No, Todd Pletcher. That was Todd Pletcher bought that horse. Yeah,
He did.
yeah, that was Todd, and he trained him, and he, graded stakes winner,
Mhm.
and came to OBS to
that's
win
right.
the OBS stakes.
That's right.
Also,
Yeah.
there, and I mean, we got big things of flowers and pictures and stuff like that. And it was real nice to. We appreciated that.
Well,
a
we're
lot.
not as big an organization as Keeneland or Fasig Tipton. We don't have the myriads of employees
right,
that they have.
and I'm
But
sure
we
we can
have
use a few more.
We could. You could always feel like you're at times you feel like you're looking for a hand, but
right.
We've got a very committed group that loves what they do. So
Yeah, and a great board because they're all
Absolutely.
horsemen.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
I've sat in on some of the meetings
Mm-hmm.
and can listen in and what you're looking for, and it's always about trying to make something better.
Yes.
How do we make something better? What can we do to take care of this issue with, no matter how small
Right.
or large it is? And so this is a company that's going to grow and grow and grow. It's been growing every year from day one.
Yeah, you're gonna
We will
need a couple-
continue to grow as long as our members,
Yeah,
our shareholders, and our patrons continue to do well with the horses
yeah.
that they have.
And I think 2023 is going to be a huge year. It has already started to be.
Sure.
But 2022 is huge.
Yes.
In graded stakes
Yes.
winners and champions and Derby contenders and Breeders' Cup horses and
Yep.
so forth.
Out of all three sales.
Yeah.
yeah, out of all the sales, right?
And, kind of the idea, the way the sales are set up now is, people ask, what sale should I go into? I said, well, if you have one that you wish the sale was yesterday, that's a March
when they're
horse.
ready.
Right.
That's right.
When they're
ready.
Yep.
If you got one that needs just a little more time, that's an April
Right.
horse. And if you got one that needs a little more time than that, then that's a
Right.
June horse. But the March horse needs to be the one that is
Ready now.
ready
Ready.
now.
And that's how Randy and I do it is if they're ready, they
Sure.
need to sell because, holding one and keeping them breezing along is hard because you reach that.
And
peak
so
and
I
they
think
move
that
on.
there's, when particularly when those decisions are being made, yes, you have to pay attention to things like that. But then I think some guys start going off the rails and getting a little too weird with, I don't know, because if the wind's blowing the wrong direction on
Yeah.
the first day, I don't know if I want to be.
Boy, if we can predict that.
So I think I need to be. I don't know which sale. He didn't eat I fed him 20 oats yesterday and he ate 19 and a half. I don't know if so sometimes it gets overthought a little too much.
Yeah.
But obviously there's broad strokes that you need to say, hey, this horse is ready. This horse isn't.
And we're about to have a yearling sale that's going to kick off here at 10 a.m. And so I'm going to probably let Todd go back to work because he's probably looking at me like, can we wrap this up on that?
Well, I really appreciate you guys having me on. I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
The opportunity to,
I think it's important for all of us to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, you, your parents, Randy and I, we've made a living in the horse industry.
Sure.
And so to give back to the horse industry and to bring positive attention to it is everything we all need to do.
Right.
Wayne Lucas said it. He said, I never made a penny. We had him on a podcast at Keeneland, and he said, I never made a penny without horses. He said, so I'll be happy to get on and tell my story
there you go.
to you. So anyway, so we're going to wrap this up. And if you like what you're listening to, we'd like you to follow us on Instagram and like us and also Twitter. So we're going to wrap up with leading the way, Hartley Derenzo and Tod Wojciechowski, Director of Sales of Ocala Breeder Sales Company.
Thank you.